newspaper, a weekly newspaper, online newspaper that covers the Niger Delta. It's a 15-year-old newspaper run by two women, Constance Meju and Viva Pedro. And we're, we're here in Port Harcourt organizing a media training for journalists on investigative journalism, inclusive development, and accountable governance. Um, this program is the culmination of a passion, a dream we've had. We are journalists who have reported the Niger Delta, the region that sustains life, economic life, and so on in the country. We've been worried. You can see anytime people talk about the Niger Delta, the reference immediately is insecurity, coal fire, artisanal refining, or kidnapping of people for hostage for cash, which of course started in the Niger Delta. So much poverty in the face of so much wealth. And we've been there 15 years reporting this. And fortunately for us, we were one of the organizations being supported by the Wale Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism and MacArthur Foundation. We are actually the only group for being so supported in the Niger Delta. And we're happy to do this. We've brought together journalists from all over the Niger Delta in one of several trainings we'll be organizing. As a journalist who has followed the issues of the people, on the environment, on governance, on women, on development generally, I'm more than proud that National Point has been chosen for this because, please, if not us, thank you.
Okay, so the essence of this, what is the overreaching target when it comes to this exercise?
Basically, to empower journalists. You know, we deal with knowledge. A journalist, when you think of a journalist, you think of somebody who is knowledgeable about issues, you know, of development, of everything, of science, of the economy, and so on. But if you don't train journalists to keep reporting, to be on top of their issues, they of course sort of get rusty. This is one of those trainings to empower journalists to draw attention back to the issues that matter to the people, issues of security, human security, security of infrastructure. I don't know how many people who have passed through the East-West Road that have not shed tears. One of the journalists that came into Port Harcourt about 1 a.m., which is frightening in face of the insecurity in the region. I mean, things could have gone wrong. We want to see journalists who are empowered, who know what they are talking about, and who can return power of agency, of being to the people of the Niger Delta. Because at the end of the day, really, power belongs to the people, and we want to emphasize that. We are concerned about the lack of representation that is a reality in the Niger Delta. Whether anybody likes it or not, the Niger Delta has posted all sorts of funny voting figures during the elections, and you know that it's our resources that are used to fund political party elections in the country, across the country. It has never worked in the interest of the people. For a change, we're empowering people who report the news, who report the region, to tell the story of the people. We want power back. We want to see youth. We want to see women, men pick up their PVCs and go out and vote. And we want them to stand and defend their votes. It isn't enough to sit down on voting on election day. You're out playing football. Who is going to pursue your matter? Who is going to protect your rights? This is a region where people have been killed, people have been raped just for not being doing anything, but for just being in their communities. People have been raped. We need all of that to stop, and we want to return focus, priority to the issues of the people, the women, the old men, the youth who are mostly unemployed. You know, like the Niger Delta has, especially places like Rivers, has one of the highest rates of unemployment in the country in the face of all the wealth.
Thank you.
So in the area of you've been very serious in the aspect of gender sensitive advocacy in terms of in your career. In your period of challenge going to the creek, what has been the key issue the women are facing that you need to put into in this program in order to enlighten the journalists that are here present?
I think one of the things I always, whenever I go to communities and when I'm invited, and I'm often always invited, because of the work I've done this 15, 20 something years actually, beginning from the Guardian. When I get invited to communities, what I always ask when I go to a place and you see a high table full of men, I do ask, because I'm that kind of person. I ask, where are the women? Okay, you say you want a new Niger Delta, you want a new Ijoland, you want a new Uroboland. Where are the women? Are your high table layout there? All I see are males. So are we looking for men? Is the men to be the people in the new Niger Delta we're looking for? And then they actually stop, because sometimes people do these things not deliberately. It just becomes like they become accustomed to doing wrong, of just pushing, oh, the women, forget them. But when you draw, I expect to see more women and men, and they are there, the men are speaking up and pushing women's issues up. We want to see more women speaking up, because at the end of the day, when you have a home, for instance, that the woman is there, she's representing, she's a voice, a vocal voice. I'm a vocal voice for the John Nation, for the Niger Delta people, because I speak on the Niger Delta issues all over the world. I want to see more women empowered. If the women are empowered, all of these militancy violence will be down, because there's no way you said you're there paying your children's bills, sending them to school, providing shelter for them, supporting your spouse, to build a stable home. There's no way your children, if you tell your children, say, Tonye, Mpaka, Okoro, don't go out. I don't want to mix it with that. They won't listen to you. But if you lose that moral authority to take care of your children when they are growing up, you end up having to bury your child before your own death.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, please, my question is, what will be your advice to state governors or ministries that refuse to train their state media leaders?
Yeah, I do know that. There are challenges, there are economic challenges, you understand? The media all over the world, the reason people like us are even getting the funding to do this training, because of the realization, especially with the impact of COVID-19, that the media is suffering. The factories are closed down. The world economic situation is in doldrums. So I won't say they're all in the wrong. Getting the best kind of journalism, including doing investigative journalism, including doing refresher training for your journalists from time to time, involves resources, financial resources. But we have to find those resources, because the voice of the media is so important. Imagine a society, you just think of authoritarian countries and communities where people don't have a voice. Those are terrible hellholes for everybody. So we encourage them, wherever the resources are, they should look for those resources. And there are resources online too. You can get, because we get a lot of support as Nigeria, because the world is concerned, because of our population, our place in Africa. The world is concerned about Nigeria. They don't want Nigeria to fall apart, to break apart. So there are resources for states to tap into. States run media. You can actually access those resources and give training and empowerment. I know whether we like to feel ourselves or not, one of the important things is resources to keep going. Pay journalists, we talk about ethical issues. If you don't pay people, then you expose them to collecting what we call the brown envelope and all of that. But like I've always said, I'm not saying or anything, but there are things I don't do. And one of the things I've never allowed myself or anybody to do is to put me in their pockets, to give me 10 kobo for me to not to write. How dare you? That's how it is for me. And I will recommend it to everybody. Because really, the things that have happened to me, till this moment I stand here, is because of my position of integrity. I have very high standards about what I accept or not accept as a journalist. And nobody in my lifetime will put me in their pocket. I've turned down oil company job offers. I've turned down government commissionerships and all. So those are the realities. And when you're there, you're sleeping and people are thinking of what they think that will involve you because of that ethical position you take. Thank you.